Hi everyone, welcome to the Stefan Talk Show. So today we're going to be talking about, yet again, another product review. Today we're going to be talking about really exciting LED lights and also a must-have GPU bracket that all PC builders would want to have. So again, we're going to keep this simple and let's get started. Before we dive in, let's first of all look at a little simple question before we start. Why do you need RGB and also GPU bracket support? And I guess for the RGB, that's quite simple. Visibility. I wish that actually was the case. No, to be honest with you, you don't need RGB. You could have a completely lifeless computer if you wanted. It's actually best practice to actually put all your money toward performance over any RGB or any other accessories that, again, is not focused on performance. However, again, don't be alarmed. You don't have to actually choose between RGB and performance nowadays. Everything includes RGB lights, which is an absolutely great thing because, again, not only when you're getting better performance products, you're always getting some lights included with it. Quite rarely will you not get any RGB for a higher price. So again, we live in a great world and we really need to appreciate that. As for the GPU brackets, I'll definitely say that this is quite important, and this is really important when you really think about things down the line, which is something that that's called GPU sag. As for the bracket support, why do you need this? Again, this is not the most important issue in the world, but definitely is something that you should try to avoid. And the problem is called a GPU sag. Now, when you installed your GPU, there's not really much supporting it. You have, of course, the braces at the very end, and also you have the whatever locks in the GPU. Now, again, over time, that can actually wear out, and you'll actually start seeing it sag more. Now, this is not too much of a problem, but again, over time, this sag can lead to performance issues, as well as damage it if it's bad enough. And as we all know, the GPU is just as expensive, probably the most expensive part of a PC. So again, these are things that you really want to take care of if you can, and if anything, as I'm going to show you today, a very simple and cheap way that you can actually protect it. So let's get started here and look at what are we working with. And first of all, let's kind of look at the design here. So first of all, this is an excellent piece of RGB work. We're talking about the Coolia Backlight support bracket. Now, this is a quite sturdy bracket and something that I think meets both worlds when it comes to what PC and gamers want. RGB and bracket support. Again, RGB, and then you actually make an excuse that's actually practical and functional by having it support something. So again, it's the best of both worlds. Now in this case, let's kind of look at this here. It's sturdy, it's able to support any GPU, for example, no matter the size. So we're going to now go over the pros about this product. So in the case, let's kind of look at first of all, the RGB. So, in this case, the RGB, again, as I said, is solid, has lots of volume, and again, it surrounds everything. And this is great when it comes to really the dynamic fluid effects that it can give. If you have, for example, as I have it, a half blue, fade, and half in, again, it shows everything. And again, it encompasses everything as well as it really surrounds the environment. And this really cool dynamic effect to it. So something that I definitely recommend. Also, again, as I said, it's very easy to set up. So again, not really much there to be said. Again, it takes a 3V pin, which again, you just hook it up and you're perfectly fine. This comes in the standard any hub. So you should have no problems installing it. And also again, the magnetic base is again very strong. It will actually think it's a little too strong. I actually will talk about that more in the cons. But I do find that when you try to lift it, you do have to put some effort to yank it off. But again, I guess that's a good thing, isn't it? So again, let's kind of go over the cons. So again, we're going to go now over the cons. And for the first con, I would definitely say that probably the biggest issue I have with it is the base. Now, the base is quite thick and big, and it's quite disguising because the part that actually holds it up is actually quite stable, it's quite thin. But the base itself can be kind of problematic. So in my case, I have again a mid-sized case, and I'll definitely say that I can't really move it anywhere. The only place I can actually put it is at the very edge. Now, if I had, let's say, a smaller GPU, I think things could be different. And again, I don't see that changing anytime soon because again, I'm happy with what I got. But again, depending on your case, if you have a bigger case, you could probably maximize that space to kind of better put, where you want the light to go, what corners to reach. So again, that's something that you can work with. But even for a midterm case, I definitely think that, again, has the light side to it. And I think it's even better because it can actually reach in behind the areas. Because it's a smaller case, it can actually have stronger reach. So again, a pretty good pro to that. So overall, again, I would definitely consider this to be a really solid bracket that everyone needs to have. And also, I think the best part that you can get for this is not only the RGB and the support, but even gets better. It's very cheap. It's again £15, and I got that on eBay. And other than the wait time to get it, which can be, that can be around 2 weeks, so it is a little bit of a hassle, it's definitely worth it. So again, I think this is a must-have for all PC users. If again you want light, if you need an excuse for lights and you want functionality, and you want to say, well, I need this to avoid a problem, well then this is your excuse. So again, go right now, go buy one, and you will not be disappointed. So now let's kind of get into the second product that I'll be reviewing. So this will be again the Pantex neon lights. So before we kind of get started into kind of talking about this, I need to really clarify something. I would definitely say that I'm not the biggest fan of RGB strips, nor really cheap ones. Now, I'll say that, again, when I first built my PC, I saw all these incredible themes, and I thought they did it by using these little lights. So when I made it, obviously, around the edges, I kind of put this light here, and I thought, wow, how cool is it? It looked red. And a month later, I took it out. I found out that I didn't really like the LED lights, because I find it kind of tacky. The lighting effect that I was wanting to go with just didn't work. I would say, when it comes to cheap lights, or at least the LED lights, it adds more of a glare to the panel and also really saturates the light that you have to kind of create any dynamic effects. And I just think it really saturates the light in general. It doesn't really add or contribute to anything other than color. And I don't think that's worth anything. It's not a good idea to add color, if that makes sense. Now, when it comes to themes, or at least my own advice, when it comes to making themes, I like to have darkness. Darkness is a good thing to have, but also have special fans and effects that kind of use up that darkness to add kind of that sense of dynamic feel, if that makes sense. So again, that's just my own experience with making themes. Again, each their own. Actually, if you disagree with me, or you agree with me, drop down in the comments below. Again, I like to hear what are everyone's themes, or what's everyone's comments about, how to use LED lights properly. But with that said, I'm actually going to be kind of making a 360 on my own statement as well. So again, let's get to that. So now kind of changing things up here, let's kind of talk about the exception that I have. So one day I was just really bored and I was kind of looking at some PC news and things like that, and I stumbled upon this ad. And I thought it was really unique. Again, I'm going to show you right now, but it's basically how these lights, basically these Phanteks lights, kind of wrapped around one side of the exhaust fans to the I/O shield and all the way to the very edge. And I thought that was really unique, something that I've really never seen in a PC build before. So I copied that, and actually, as you'll see here, I copied that verbatim. Everything that they did there, I copied. And I just really like how, again, the lights work, as well as how that pattern really kind of stands out. So that's what kind of made me inspired to make, first of all, this product review. Now, and kind of looking at more of the descriptions here. It's very minimalistic, it's very slick looking, it has a really touch of a kind of modern aspect of it. Also, I'll definitely say that the rubber, the coating of it is made of a really strong, thick rubber, which I think really helps to kind of diffuse the light, as well as it's impossible to break unless you were to get a hammer and actually smash it, which I don't advise that you do because I'm not going to do that. I'll definitely say that it is quite durable. Also, it comes with these, it's kind of like these little wedges to kind of help you kind of shape the tubing of these lights. So again, that's what comes with it. And also what's really cool is that you can actually daisy chain these. So again, if you want to get 2 of these because you really like the first ones, it's easy. Again, at the very edge, you can connect it. Boom, it's set. You don't have to connect that one back to the hub, which I think is great and also great for cable management. So let's first of all kind of look at the pros, right? So for the main one that I would really say is the illumination. And when kind of like really looking at this here, when you really look at the lights, it has this really continuous flow to them. And depending on how you want to show it. So for example, if it's again a really static color, you're really not going to get the most of it. But if it has like a very flowing type rhythm to it, or kind of transition, you will definitely see how these are so cool, how it's really so fluid, and how you can see the trail going through, but in a very clear way, or at least in the clearest way for this type of budget. And I'm really impressed with these because when you look at traditional LED lights, you can see the squares. You can see the little tiny squares. And I think, honestly, I'm not going to actually bother opening up these lights. But it'll probably have the same thing. Again, these little tiny lights. But where the issue where I have with these tacky, cheaper lights is that because it's very clear, it really saturates the light. And it really kind of gets rid of anything good that would come from the lights. But with these, it kind of diffuses it into this more trailing pattern, which I think is really cool and really, again, adds this really dynamic effect to it. And again, something that I really love and something that I will include more in my PC building themes. So first, going into our first con, I'll definitely say that the size of the cord is definitely one of those problems. Now, I say that because when I bought it, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with how it looks. But I just wanted it for the one side. I didn't really bother having it kind of extend around the PC. That wasn't my intention. But if you're wanting to do that, you'll definitely need to go with the 10-meter one. And I say that just because, again, as you can see right now, or as I've been showing in the montage, it does run a little short. And in kind of playing around with it, I actually had to kind of adjust it so that it actually reaches that length. So again, it's not a big issue. I'll just make sure to get 2 of them if you want to kind of maximize what you want to do with it. For me, if you just want it on one side or to copy what I did, it's perfect. Again, you only need one of those and you should be pretty set. Also, in looking at another part here that I did find a little bit problematic, but I think this is more problematic in my case. I would say kind of shaping it using the adhesive and shaping wedges. Now, I did find this to be quite a bother, I will not lie. I was calling my parents when I was doing it, and it was quite a bother. Now, the reason why it's a bother is because at least the way I had it. So if you want to copy what I did, you obviously have lots of things in your way. For me, I have, of course, this damn big, massive heatsink. And I hate that heatsink. I am going to get rid of it soon. Maybe next year or in a couple months will I probably get an AIO to kind of get rid of bulkiness from having it. But again, for the meantime, it works, so there's no need to replace it. But for me, I had to take that out as well as take out the exhaust fan to then, of course, have flexible room to actually wrap it around. Now, obviously, I didn't completely disconnect the fan. I left it there. I just kind of put it to a side so that I could work on it. And again, it wasn't too much of a problem. Again, I think this is more personal problem that I had, but I think everyone else should be okay. Also, I found that the adhesive wasn't as easy as it was meant out to be. Again, because of the length, you do have to play around with how much you want to give, how much you want to take. And also, I found the wedges to be a little bit thicker than they should be. So there are times that when I finally had everything set, I put in the fan, it didn't fit snug as I did last time. But again, it's not a problem because again, I have a 120 millimeter fan, so I was just able to move it slightly up. It was fine. But again, if you have a bigger fan, something that I would definitely worry about if you want to have it on that one edge as I do, wrapping around that area. Now, if you just kind of want to have this on the, let's say, on the bottom edge, the bottom corner, or the top, then you should be perfectly fine. There should be no difficulty at all in using that. But again, these are just some cons that I have noticed. So again, we just kind of gone over the pros and the cons, and now we're going to kind of look at the overall. What's my overall impression about these lights? Now, I'll definitely say that this is something that if you really want to use LED lights or these kind of strip lights, this is what you should be getting if you want to get them at a very budget price. And the reason that I say that is, again, obviously it has its disadvantages, right? But I'll say for the hassle that you put into it, it makes it pulls its weight 10 times. And again, having the price for it being £15, as well as the quality that you get for something like that. If you run cheaper, you get some really bad crap. This actually is pretty good, and I'll definitely say something that I recommend in future themes. Something that if I ever make another PC, this is what I will be probably including if I'm not getting the Corsair ones, which obviously would be better, but they're considerably more expensive. So again, for the meantime, if again you want something budget, this is what I would go with. Okay, well again, thank you everyone for making it to the very end of the video. So, if you really liked what we did, or I did here today, or the products, or any of the content here, again, smash that like. Again, it does help me in really producing more content, as well as really helping the algorithms to kind of share this with more people. Also, if you really kind of like this content in general, consider subscribing. Then for some future content that I'll be posting, so maybe sometime this week I'll be posting a beginner guide on memory. Again, what type of memory should you get, how to install it, and the different types. As well as, again, for another one for complete beginners, how to replace or how to put in a new CPU. So these are all things that I'll be doing. Also, as you can see behind you, there is a new theme that I'm kind of testing. I noticed that a lot of people were very interested when it came to the lava theme. And I thought, well, no, I'll make another one, except with Team Blue. So, again, probably that's not going to happen for a while. Or at least till I move in and all that. But again, that's in the works. So again, there's lots of things to be hopeful for. So, with that said, again, take care everyone and stay fresh. Peace.